Okay, 7th graders, we're going to continue with lesson 8.3 today. This is the second part of lesson 8.3. There's a lot in lesson 8.3. We talked about slope and finding slope. Okay? We just did a problem where the line goes through this point on the line and then this point on the line. Okay? When you're given a line and you have to find the slope, and it's just a line on the graph, one of the best ways to find the slope is to find where the line crosses a corner. It crosses a corner at -2, and this one that I drew crosses a corner at 5,3. 5,3. So I marked those spots on the line. Okay? Now, the reason I'm choosing a corner is that I can usually tell what numbers and I can that it's crossing at, and then I can easily count from one point to the other point. And that's the procedure for finding the slope of a line that's on the graph. Mark 2 points on the line where it crosses corners, and then what? What did we learn how to do last time? Correct. Count the spaces to the next point. Count the spaces from point to point. Okay? Count up or down, and then count over. If we count from this point to this point, we'd count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 up, so the top number in the slope is 5. And we'd count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is this a positive slope? Noah?
It is, yes.
Yeah. How do you know?
Because it's a whole number.
Okay, it's a whole number. What do you mean? It's a positive whole number? What is the slope?
5/5.
Which is 1. So the slope of this line is 1, or 1/1. We'd have to simplify that, which is a positive number. So it's a positive slope. Okay? How else do you know it's positive? Just by looking at the line. Henry?
Huh? Oh, going up to the right.
It's going up to the right. And all lines that go up to the right are positive, right? Okay? So just a quick review of slope from your last lesson. Now we're going to get into using the slope now and using another number in this equation called the slope-intercept equation, or the slope-intercept form, it's called in your book. Okay? And this is on page 417. It talks about the slope-intercept form. Now, what that means is it's an equation that is solved for y. Okay? It's any equation that you solve for y. Remember when we learned how to solve an equation for y? Solve for y means that y is all by itself on one side of the equation. And then on the other side, you've got some numbers and some terms. In this case, it is mx plus b. So the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Repeat that.
Y equals mx plus b.
Okay. Now, in this equation, the y refers to the y-coordinate of a point. The x refers to the x-coordinate in a point. The m is the coefficient of x. Look at that. mx. What's the coefficient? M. M is also the slope. in this equation, m, whatever number is in place of m, is going to be the slope of the line. And b is going to be where the line crosses the y-axis. So one of the things that you're going to do with this equation is just look for this number and this number. Look for the m, eyes up here. Look for the m and look for the b in the equation. Okay? Look at this example. What if they gave you this equation and said graph y equals 1/2 x plus 3? You can easily graph this. First, you have to identify where does the line cross, where would this equation, where would this line cross the y-axis? In other words, what is the y-intercept? What is b in this equation? Everybody? 3. Can you find the y-intercept 3 on the graph? Where would that be? Over 3? Up 3. On the y-axis, right? The y-axis goes up and down. This is the y-axis. Eyes up here. Look, I'm showing you something. This is the y-axis. This is the x-axis. So, you have to find this number. There we go. You have to find this number in the equation and then mark that number on the graph at 3. That's the first step in graphing this equation. So everyone do that. Put a line or a tick mark on your graph at 3 and mark it with the dot. Okay? Now we're going to use m. What is m, John?
It is the coefficient and the slope.
It's the coefficient of x and the slope. Exactly. Yep. It's the coefficient of x and the slope in the equation. How are we going to use the slope to graph a line?
Multiply x by half.
Okay, good a suggestion. But we can actually use the numbers in the fraction to go up and over. Remember, in slope, the top number tells you how far to go up or down, and the bottom number tells you how far to go right or left. So, from this point, from the spot where it crosses the y-axis, we can move to the next point by using the slope. What does this tell us to move to? How would we move according to this slope?
One to the right, one up, and then 2 to the right.
1 up and 2 to the right, yes. Positive 1, so 1 up and then 2 to the right and mark the point. Everybody do that. The slope is 1/2. So you move up 1 and then right 2. See that? From the point we marked at the y, on the y-axis, go up 1 over 2 and mark the next point. And since this is the slope of the line, we could mark the next point. Up 1 over 2. We could go from here down and to the left, because down 1 and left 2 is also on that line, isn't it? Down 1 and left 2. Down 1 and left 2. You see how this is all on this line. And this is the slope of the line. Right? It changes by going up 1 over 2. Now, draw the line. And this is, we just graphed this equation. Okay? It's that simple. All right? Let's do another one. Okay? Go to your assignment, and number 5. Y equals negative 2x plus 3. On your worksheet, y equals negative 2x plus 3. Let's graph that one. Okay? Y equals negative 2x plus 3. What is the y-intercept in this one? Lydia?
The Y-intercept.
In number 5. Is it number 5?
It's 9.
Or number 9? Nikki?
Oh.
3. Again, it's 3 again. Now, it's not always going to be 3. This number could be any number in the world. But it's 3 this time. This is the B. This is the y-intercept. So again, mark 3 on the line. Go ahead and do that. Mark 3 on your graph. Number 9. Find number 9. Find the y-intercept, which is B in the equation. You could put a little b above it. In fact, everybody do that. Put a little b above the 3 in number 9. Put a little m over the slope. What is the slope in this equation? Michael?
-2.
It's -2. Put a little m, because that identifies the slope in this equation. Go ahead and do that. Okay? Now, let's graph the slope. Now it says just -2. We still have to go over what? What would we go over? Over 1. So how would we do that? From this point, from where the line crosses the y-axis, find the next point using the slope. Go ahead and try to do that first. Using the slope, try to find the next point on this line. The next point goes down 2 and right 1. -2 over 1. So from the y-intercept, go down 2 and over 1 and mark that point. From the 3, go down 2 and over 1. You could also go up 2 and left 1 if you wanted to, because that's still on the line. It's still a negative slope. And that gives us our line. You see that? That's how you graph this equation. It's really simple. It's really simple to mark the B number, whatever B is, mark that on the y-axis, and then go up and over or down and over to find the next point and draw the line. Let's try number 10. One more, and then I'll let you get started on your assignment. What is the equation in number 10?
Y equals 1/3 x minus 1.
1/3 x minus 1. What is B in this equation? Joey? It's -1. Remember back in 6th grade where I made you put a plus sign, insert a plus sign in front of my sign?
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons why you have to do that, people. You have to identify this as -1. That is the y-intercept. Right? So mark that point on the y-axis, everyone. Mark this point on the y-axis. Dylan? Now mark the slope. The slope is +1/3. So from -1, this is the y-intercept. So I put this right there. And now I'm going to go up 1, right 3. Guess what? That's on the x-axis, isn't it? So that's actually called the x-intercept. The slope is positive 1/3. So we go up 1, then over to the right 3. Up 1, over 3, mark the point, and draw the line. Any questions? All right. That's how to graph y equals mx plus b. What is that equation called? Y slope-intercept form. B is the y-intercept, m is the slope. Mark the y-intercept, and then from that point, mark the next point using the slope.